Hi guys, I hope that you're very well. It's Sylvana here and I am back for a new video on the Jewels and Gems YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, today we're going to do something a bit different. As you guys know now, we are in Mercury Retrograde season. So what I thought we'd do, just because I thought now is the right time, we might as well try and see how it goes, to do a tarot card, pick a card reading around that theme. So around the theme of Mercury retrograde. So the questions today will be focused on this retrograde period, and we will be doing 3 different piles. So 1, 2, and 3. So you can choose between those 3. Of course, as usual, if you want to pick more than one, that's absolutely fine. And if you feel that the one you have picked originally for some reason doesn't resonate with you, you know, you're very welcome to change it for another one. Like, nothing is set in stone. So let's get going. So I wanted to go for 4 different cards for each pile, so 4 key questions. I'm going to let you know now what it's going to be so you can have an idea. But yeah, they will all be directed towards this Mercury retrograde period. So first card will be, how will this retrograde affect me personally? When I mean me, I mean you, I mean the collective. Then the number 2 will be, what do we need to go over, to understand, to reflect on, to revise in our lives? Then the third one will be, what's in need of restoration and revival in our lives? And obviously the 4th one will be the outcome, the end result. We'll see how that will look like. So I'm gonna use my lovely illuminated tarot. I love this deck. It's so nice, very unusual. Definitely something for more advanced tarot readers, because you know some of the cards can be a tad confusing. But if you're comfortable with your tarot, then you should be fine. There should be no issues. So I'm just gonna start shuffling the cards. And what I would love you to do with me right now, ooh, there's one out already, we'll keep it aside. So I want you to take a deep breath with me, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and I want you to do it with me in the belly, a beautiful deep belly breath. As we're shuffling the cards and asking them for hopefully some lovely guidance and intuitive messages from our subconscious, you know, because that's what the tarot is. The tarot is not about telling you what's going to happen in 10 years or what's going to happen tomorrow. It's about guidance. It's about giving you suggestions. It's about... Ooh. Okay, let's get started. Let's start. Cards are falling off my hands, messages coming from there. We'll just keep that in mind. So let's do that. So I want you to think now about, as I start to take out the cards and think about the questions, I want you to start now thinking about which pile number you want. So it's going to be 1, 2, or 3 that you guys would have to pick from, please. Or you can pick more than one if that resonates with you more. So, okay. So, pile number 1. Okay. Pile number 2. And pile number 3. Okay. So, if you're ready, I'm gonna put the timestamps at the bottom in the description box if you want to go there straight away. If you're not too bothered and you want to go through it all, because it's interesting to see what the other piles have to say as well, you know, feel free to watch it all and see how you get on. So let's get started. Pile number one, this is your call now. So the first question was, how will this Mercury retrograde personally affect you? So the card that we have here is here, the beautiful Ace of Spades, or Ace of Swords as well. So that would be a card that will kind of say that the way this Mercury retrograde will affect you could be that maybe you might struggle lately during this period with remaining focused in what you have to do, and that you have difficulties to get things done, or you have difficulties to see them through. I think that would be the better word. You have difficulties to see them through, and maybe you have a lack of clarity lately. Maybe you're not entirely sure as to what you're meant to do, what you're supposed to do. Maybe you're in a period of your life where you question yourself a lot, and this Mercury retrograde is the perfect time for you to just stop for a moment. You can see that your focus is just not going anywhere. You find it difficult to get through these things, you know. So the best thing to do is just to sit down, reflect, think about where you are at the moment. Don't rush into anything. Mercury retrograde is not a period for rushing in anything. It's really a period of just taking it easy. Think about where you are at the moment, and see what can you do in order to just as soon as this retrograde finishes, what can you do next? So I would say definitely here the message for you is that where you could be affected lately would be a focus and clarity. So straight away, that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I see the Ace of Swords. Now, the second question was recall and revisit. So what do you need to go over, to understand, to reflect, to revise, to understand in your life right now? So the card that you guys got is the beautiful nine. Here's the Nine of Clubs, so that would be the Nine of Wands, and also the Sun. It's a combination card, so that's very interesting message. So for you, what you really need to work on and really to revise and understand, it's, you know, clarity is the answer to any of your questions. You have to try to keep things simple, because lately maybe that lack of focus and clarity might have pushed you to overcomplicate certain things, or maybe you've been asking you too many questions, and you might have forgotten that the key sometimes to most answers is just simplicity, clarity, and that's gonna get you to a new opportunity at some stage, a new beginning, a new step along the way. But to get to that new sense of opportunity or beginning, you just have to go back to basics. And here Mercury retrograde is literally telling you that yeah, just go back to simplicity, because simplicity equals clarity, and clarity is everything. You'll know, then you will let your intuition speak, and your intuition will be able to tell you everything you need to know and everything you have to do for yourself. Next card was Restore and Revive. So the question was, what's in need of restoration or revival in your life? So the card that you guys got is this one here. So it's the beautiful Four of Clubs, or Four of Wands as well. This card here is very interesting because it's clearly saying that what you might be needing to restore is just foundation. Maybe, you know, you have to work on reviving that stability in your life. You need to restore stability in your life. And because by having solid foundations, this card ties in so well with the other two cards. It's just crazy. If you got this, I mean, Mercury retrograde, I'm sorry to say, Mercury is in retrograde, yet he couldn't be any clearer here. in terms of communication. What do you need to do here? Build strong, solid foundations. Be clear and go back to basics and simplicity, you know, and that's how you're going to get back to being focused and clear. You know, like for me, it's just crazy how these three cards just make so much sense together. So yeah, restore strong, solid foundations, boundaries. That could also be boundaries in your life. Maybe you have forgotten to set up boundaries, and definitely go back to that, think about it, and see how you can improve this area of your life. And last but not least, we've got the card number 4. That's going to be the outcome or the end result, by, I suppose, following all those steps, if you do. So we've got the beautiful King of Clubs or King of Wands combined here with the Magician, which is a very powerful combination card here. So what does that mean? What's that beautiful card telling you? That card is telling you that by doing all this work, you're gonna be so much more skilled in different areas of your life, because you'll have more, you have such a better mastery of all these key elements in your life that are so important. I mean, clarity, boundaries, foundation, these are areas of our lives that, you know, once you have mastered, you are the master of your own destiny. And this card is here to remind you that by doing this work, this will lead you to maybe potentially a much bigger transformation that you might even realize. So yeah, all good stuff so far. Very interesting. That first pile was really good. I'm so happy. You know, whoever picked that, hopefully this gives you a little bit of a boost of energy and you might feel a little bit revitalized. And hopefully this might also answer some of your questions that you might have lately about certain things. So hopefully this all makes sense. So that was for the pile number 1. Now let's go to pile number 2. By the way, whoever picked pile number 1, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. What do you think about what we just said? Does it resonate with you? Does it tie in with how things are at the moment for you? Yeah, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. It's always so interesting for me to see what you guys have to say. Now, let's go for pile number 2. So if you picked number 2, let's go back to the first question. So the question was, how will this Mercury retrograde personally affect you? So the first card that we have for you guys here is gonna be the 5 of Spades or the 5 of Swords, the equivalent. So what does that mean? That means that maybe you have been challenged lately, or since this retrograde has started, or at some point this might happen. Maybe you might have been facing a difficult opponent in your life, because you can see it by the way the card looks. An opponent can be, what I mean by opponent, I mean it can be an actual person in your life. It can also be something. It doesn't have to be an individual. Like you've been facing something in your life lately, and maybe what's happening is that you might have had difficulties to get your way out of it or make your way through it. And for me, this also says that you could have potentially gone through some possible disappointment lately about something that's happened to you, or something you had to go through, or something you had to face. So yeah, definitely for you, this Mercury retrograde period could be a period, yeah, of just facing certain things, events, people, ideas, maybe some mindset that you might have or something like that. And unfortunately you could be, or you might have been struggling that way and disappointed in some areas. So that would be the first card. So now the card number 2 is going to be recall and revisit. So what do you need to go over and understand, reflect, and revise? So very interesting here. We've got the King of Diamonds, or also called the King of Pentacles. This is a lovely card that's kind of saying that maybe for you, what you might need to understand or revise is that you have to go back to maybe being generous with the people around you. That maybe lately you have been maybe like giving a lot, but you know, receiving, giving, these things kind of go hand in hand together. And by taking, it's important as well to give back to people around you. And for me, the message here is that maybe what you need to focus on is maybe you have to try to find happiness in other areas of your life that maybe you are seriously underestimating, or areas that you have decided to leave aside for, so many different reasons. And areas like that would be, for example, nature. So maybe you should try to reflect on your connection with nature and see if you can go back to find happiness in that area. Maybe also spirituality, self-care, wellness. These could be areas where maybe now is the time for you to dive deep into those elements and see if they can bring you a little bit of that happiness and beautiful positive energy that you need, guys. So that would be the message behind the King of Pentacles. Then we have, what's in need of restoration or revival in your life. So what we have here is it's actually in reverse, but let's just evaluate all aspects of the cards rather than just the reverse, because I think it's more interesting. So I would say that here the Three of Clubs or the Three of Wands, that's a card that kind of talks about efforts and rewards. And for me, what maybe needs to be restored or revived in your life is that sense of how much reward you get from the work that you do. And like, you have to restore that belief in yourself, and and keep pushing what you're doing. You have to keep pushing that work that you're doing, because the reward will come at some point. Don't be disappointed because all the work that you're putting through is not yet coming to fruition. Maybe that could have been a disappointment you might have, and maybe it could have been in your career, not so much with an individual. Maybe in your business you feel that you have lost hope. But I mean, in your business, it can be in your career, whatever you're doing. You might have forgotten that success is something that you need to build. Success is something you need to work on, because in order to achieve the end result, you need to make sure you use all your tools correctly, intensely, and over a long period of time. And for me here, it's important to remember that, if you do that work, if you do all that, if you, restore that belief in yourself and in what you're capable of, and if you open yourself to being a little bit more patient and resilient, you will get the reward that you're after, and you will get the success you deserve. And then the last card, but not least, is going to be the outcome or the end result. So interestingly enough, the card that we have here is the Eight of Spades or the Eight of Swords, combined here with, obviously, you can see the Justice. So what's very interesting here is that, of course, another combination card. So what I would say here, guys, is for you, the outcome might be that if you go through all those steps, you will then feel like how can I explain that? You will feel like everything makes sense once you go through all those reflections and questions and thoughts about where you are now. You know, we've talked about how you have maybe to try to find happiness in new areas of your life, how you need maybe to reconsider you know, your work and how you're going through it, and your mindset about it, that this will lead you deep down to a sense of fairness, that at some stage you will feel that in some point you could say that karma will do its thing and you'll get what you believe you deserve, and then you will understand that, okay, it makes sense. I was just seriously lacking common sense, but now I can see things clearly. Now my own sense of reason is there, and I can really see the bigger picture. So hopefully the outcome is that this will open your eyes on so many things, and you know, your sense of awareness will definitely benefit from that, and you will be able to see everything for what it truly is and understand the way things truly are, and not be faded by any illusions. That's just my interpretation now, you know. But hopefully this makes sense. You know, the good thing about all this is that I'm just telling you, as you know, as my intuition feeds into me. But of course there might be like little keywords or elements that you might guys hear and be like, oh, I can see maybe it relates to more for me for that side and that side. That's the interesting part, you know. It's not so much just about what I will say at that exact moment, but what's also very important is how you guys feel about these keywords I use, if anything opens any doors for you to some other potential ideas and questions and self-reflections you may then do after you've watched this video. So let's go to the final pile. So if you guys have picked pile number 3, this is your call now. So let's go back to the first question. So the question was, how will this Mercury retrograde personally affect you guys? So the first card we have here, very interesting. At the end, the cards started flowing everywhere, so I just went for those. They did not go back to the pile, because if that's the cards that are coming out of the deck, then that's the cards that we should show and that we should talk about. So very interesting here. We've got an Ace of Hearts or Ace of Cups. So what does that mean? That means that maybe Mercury retrograde will affect you in your sense of balance. You have to be careful with your emotions, because you know, you don't want to, you know, let them overflow and let them rule you and take control over you. This is something that is so easy to allow your emotions to do. You know, if you're someone, for example, that is very much so an emotional individual, if you have a lot of water signs in your birth chart, that's another example. If you're just someone that happens to have very strong emotions and you let them flow a lot and you express them sometimes willingly or unwillingly, you know, just be careful during Mercury retrograde. You do want to keep a certain balance. You know, like it's very easy during Mercury retrograde to get frustrated because, for example, certain things may be hard to express. You might have difficulties with communication with people in your life. Don't let your emotions take over and create, you know, anger or stress, or you know, any form of negative emotions that your energy does not need at all. So yeah, and try to be mindful with your sense of, you know, moderation. You know, don't go indulging in certain things that you should not really, you know, like it's very easy in periods like now to indulge in certain areas where we feel brings us a lot of comfort emotionally, but is it really good for you? Is it really good for your overall health? When I mean health, I mean not just physically but also mentally, spiritually. Just be wary of that. That would be my first idea here for you. Then the next card is going to be recall and revisit. So what do you need to go over, to understand, to reflect and revise during this time of Mercury retrograde? So here is the card you guys got. We've got the beautiful two of hearts. So what's very interesting here is that for me, like, there is a sense of yeah, just emotional, spiritual flow, creative flow, as you can see here, you know, the beautiful beautiful illustration. So yeah, for you, maybe what you should try to reflect on is how your creativity flows into your life and feeds into you, and try to ask yourself how your emotions feed into you. Is it for the best? Is it for the good, the better, highest good? Ask yourself as well maybe how your spiritual flow is going within yourself, you know, your sense of intuition, your awareness, all those elements. Reflect on that beautiful flow. Is it blocked? Is it flowing? How is it? And because this flow is everything. If your emotional creative flow is going, then you will be on the right track. And then we've got the next card is restore and revive. So that's going to be what's in need of restoration and revival in your life during this Mercury retrograde. So the card we have here is the Eight of Diamonds or the Eight of Pentacles. So what does that mean? Maybe the areas where you need to revive it in your life might be just your sense of the way you approach your work, the way you approach what you do on a daily basis. And for me, this card is also reminiscent of that idea of comfort that you achieve through you being so persistent and resilient, and through your work ethic. So maybe what you need to revive right now and restore is your sense of work ethic. It's your sense of resilience, of persistence, because this could be another way for you to get more into a sense of comfort. I'm not just talking financially, because of course, the more resilient and the more successful you become, the more comfort you develop financially. But that's not just everything. You also will develop a lot of comfort emotionally, spiritually. You will feel in a better place, and you will feel, I suppose, you will flourish in different areas. You know, you will probably feel like some elements of your life will just come to you more naturally, and things will just unfold themselves in a much easier and clearer way. And then last but not least, very interesting, the last card that we have, guys, for you, pile number 3. So it's going to be outcome or end results after all this. So the card that we have here is, I'm gonna just show it to you like that. It looks, you can have a better idea of how it looks. So this is 5 of clubs or 5 of wands combined with the devil. So this is a very interesting card. Again, another combination card. So what does that mean? That means that maybe the outcome for you is that you will feel less attached to certain areas of your life. For example, emotions can rule so much in our lives. Emotions can take over so much and create that sense of control, you know, because, you know, if you let your emotions rule you might create patterns and mindsets in your mind that just will not really benefit you. So by doing all this work and working on all the elements we've just mentioned, this card is telling you that you should be able to free yourself of any form of attachment that could come from everything we've mentioned, any form of control, you know, like, you know, it's control is, is more negative than positive, and sometimes people forget that. You know, the sense of control. People think you have to have control over everything, but it does not work like that. There's so many areas of your life where you cannot have control. So just let things unfold themselves. Wait and see. Take the time to observe before taking any drastic actions. And I suppose another element, because we do have this double card of the devil, is that you might also feel less temptation, if that makes any sense. What I mean by that is there could be areas of your life, because you are being lately ruled a lot by your emotions, that might have created that sense of temptations into doing certain things for you that actually do not really deep down serve you. But by going with this card, hopefully by doing all this work, you might be able to free from all this. You know, use your emotions for what they are, which is an indicator of how you feel, but do not let them overrule you, because that will not bring you to nothing positive. You know, if it's positive emotions, then that's fantastic. But if it's negative emotions, you know, like we've said at the beginning, balance is key. Listen to yourself, take it into account, see how you feel, and just just observe and appreciate the moment. That I don't mean that means you have completely to ignore your emotions. That is not the case at all. But what you have to keep in mind is that negative emotions should not be your focus, in the sense that you don't let them dictate your life and dictate who you are. You know, take them into account, but remember that what you truly want is to embrace the good side of your emotions, and unlock them, and open up and flourish like a beautiful flower. If that makes any sense. So yeah, I mean, that would be the main idea here. Sorry if this video has been a little bit long. It's just that I get very excited when I get going. It's hard for me to stop. And I just felt very inspired by the card we got today. Very, very interesting pulls and card combinations here. So yeah, I hope that it's okay for you. It's like over 30 minutes. I did not realize. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section below what did you feel about this reading. Did it make any sense to you? How do you feel about this like Mercury retrograde? What are your goals? What are you planning to do during this retrograde? Any do's, any don'ts? What are you up to? I'd love to know. And yeah, just make sure you like this video as well. That would be amazing, and give us a thumbs up. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel. That would be amazing. I post videos every single day, so I will definitely be seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a beautiful, lovely day. Thank you.